Assalamu alaikum, my name is Mohammad Ali and I'll be talking about how the federal minimum wage should not be increased and how the real purchasing power should be protected without increasing the wage levels, because increasing the wage level, it really has a trickle down effect on all levels of the economy, and it really promotes inflation. And it's not really an economic argument, because anyone who's putting it out there is really putting up a moral argument saying that it's actually the right thing to do when it's not. They've not really looked into the scientific side of it. So, and yeah, I'll be talking about and I'll be proving to you by the end of this video that how the levels of inflation could actually be kept with the minimum wage levels. So the first point is that increasing the wage would really be reducing your unemployment, because if you increase the wage from 15,000 to 25,000, that's like a 30% increase in wage if the government of Pakistan decides that. So what that would do, more people would be willing to work at higher wages down. Anyone who's sleeping at home, who's not motivated to go out and find a job, he's now out there to look. He's now out here looking for jobs because now it pays more, really. So that would really saturate the labor market. So I've drawn this simple microeconomics chart, really simple: demand and supply. So the new supply, the increase in supply shifting outwards, would really reduce the wages when the wages was really higher before, and now the wages would really drop in real terms, because it's common sense. Because if I'm an employer, I'd think that the person who's really working at 15,000, the job he does isn't worth the increase. So I won't just hire him, even if the government tells me so. I just drop him out. So that's one thing. And increase in minimum wage would really induce more school dropouts, because it reduces the cost of failure in education. Because if I don't have the scare of failing an exam or failing my primary education, I just have a backup and go back to working for 25,000, a higher wage. And I'd say that it's more profitable for me for staying in school for an extra year than working. So it really incentivizes dropouts. And if you lower the minimum wage and if you increase the risk, then people would really be out there pursuing more education, further education, if they want a better lifestyle, if they want a better standard of living. And further, parents would, the other way around, the parents would force the kids to drop out because it pays more now to support them more. Yeah, the original arguments is that the increases in wage would really be supporting the bottom 25%, which is not true. It really has a trickle up effect, not trickle down, trickle up to every level of the wage, every level of salary. For example, right now there's a supervisor working at 30,000 and staff is at minimum wage. The gap is 80 to 100%. Now the minimum wages are bumped up to say 25,000. The supervisor is still at 30,000. He says that it doesn't compensate me enough now. I have more education, I have more responsibilities. How is that? How does that make sense? So he'd asked to maintain the previous wage gap by 100%. So his wages would be bumped up to like 50,000. So the one at 15,000, 50,000 would say that he's not compensated enough now. He is equal to the supervisor's salary. So it would really increase the cost of business overall, and that would really prompt people to go for machinery, automation. The previous slide I pointed out, increases in wages would prompt the business owners, the entrepreneurs, to go for further automation. And we know what automation does. It really unemploys the masses, because we've seen what McDonald's has done in Karachi. They put an extra kiosk machine, the touchscreen order taker, and they've really just reduced their staff who are taking the orders right now. And finally, it really increases the cost of education, because if you get a salary of 40,000, say minimum after your degree, and you would have already gotten a salary of 15,000 before without the degree. So the real return on education was this is all per year, by the way, right? So the real return on education was like 300,000 still. That was good enough. That was more than double. But if you increase the wages, that would reduce the return on education, because you'd already be getting like 300,000 a year without the degree. So the return on education would really drop. The opportunity cost of not working for the 4 years you're studying would rise way above. And finally, the real purchasing power would be eroded, would really make no difference at all. uh, because if there's a tandoor roti maker, he was selling his roti for like 15 rupees, and now he has to pay his labor way more. Now he'll bump up the prices to 22 rupees. So what did that do? That just only eroded the rupees purchasing power. It didn't increase your standard of living. You just increased more inflation. Your salaries increased, but the cost of purchasing things also increased as well. So damages the value of local currency. So finally, the conclusion would be to reduce the inflation organically by producing more, reducing the average cost of everything per unit. So that would really bump the prices down of everything. So keep the minimum wage at one stage, but reduce the cost of products and goods. So people would purchase more with the same level of salaries and wages. So that's my time, I think. So yeah, thank you.